You're about to understand something that most people misunderstand completely. For a long time, people believed that having a high IQ was simply about being smarter than others, getting better grades, solving problems faster, or knowing more facts. But the truth is far deeper than that. Having a high IQ doesn't just change what you know, it changes how you experience life itself. So if you've ever felt like you think too much, analyze everything, or struggle to connect with surface-level conversations, stay with me until the end of this video, because what you're about to hear might finally make sense of things you felt your entire life. And if, by the end, this resonates with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's begin. People with high IQ don't just think more, they think differently. And one of the biggest differences lies in how deeply they process everything around them. While most people are comfortable taking things at face value, high IQ individuals naturally go beneath the surface. A simple conversation, a small decision, or even a casual comment can trigger layers of analysis in their minds. Psychology suggests that this kind of deep processing is linked to a stronger need for understanding patterns, meanings, and connections. Instead of accepting information as it is, they question it. They break it apart. They try to see what's behind it, what caused it, and what it might lead to. For example, imagine a group of people talking about their day. Most will share events in a simple way: what they did, where they went, who they met. But someone with a high IQ might be more focused on why things happened, what those events reveal about people's behavior, or what patterns can be observed. This difference may seem small, but over time, it creates a completely different mental experience. This is also why many highly intelligent people struggle with small talk. It's not that they don't care about others, it's that their minds are wired to seek depth. Conversations that stay on the surface can feel unfulfilling, even exhausting. They crave meaning, insight, and substance. And when those elements are missing, they often withdraw, not out of arrogance, but out of mental mismatch. Research in psychology indicates that people with higher cognitive ability tend to engage more in what is called reflective thinking. This means they don't just react, they reflect. They replay situations in their minds, analyze outcomes, and imagine alternative scenarios. While this can lead to better decision-making, it also means their minds are rarely quiet. Think about it like this. While many people can turn off their thoughts and relax easily, high IQ individuals often remain mentally active, even in moments of rest. Their brain continues to connect ideas, revisit conversations, and explore possibilities. This constant activity can be both a gift and a burden. And here's where things become even more interesting. Because this deep, analytical way of thinking doesn't just affect how they process information, it affects how they see people. They tend to notice subtle behaviors, hidden intentions, and emotional patterns that others might overlook. A simple change in tone, a small inconsistency, or a brief hesitation can be enough for them to start building a bigger picture. This heightened awareness can make social interactions more complex. While others move through conversations effortlessly, highly intelligent individuals may be quietly analyzing every detail, which can create a sense of distance. They are present, but also observing, engaged, but also evaluating. And over time, this creates a feeling that many of them struggle to explain, the feeling of being mentally out of sync with the world around them. But here's the truth. This difference is not a flaw. It's a different way of experiencing reality, a way that allows for deeper understanding, stronger insights, and a unique perspective on life. The challenge is learning how to live with it. And that's exactly what we're going to explore next. Now that you've begun to understand how people with high IQ process the world differently, there's another layer that goes even deeper. And this is where many of them start to feel truly disconnected from others. Because it's not just about thinking deeply, it's about thinking constantly. People with high IQ often live in a state of continuous mental activity. Their minds don't simply react to what's happening around them, they expand on it, question it, replay it, and imagine every possible outcome. While others may move on quickly from a situation, they stay with it, turning it over and over in their minds. Psychology suggests that this tendency is closely linked to what is known as overthinking. But in this case, it's not always negative. It's a natural extension of a brain that is highly active and wired to explore complexity. The problem is not the thinking itself, it's the inability to turn it off. Imagine lying in bed at night, trying to relax, but your mind keeps bringing back conversations, decisions, and possibilities. You think about what you said, what you could have said, and what it might mean in the future. While many people can disconnect and rest, highly intelligent individuals often remain mentally engaged long after the moment has passed. This creates a kind of invisible fatigue, not physical but mental, a constant background noise of thoughts that never fully fades. And this is where another important difference appears: emotional depth. People with high IQ don't just think more, they often feel more deeply as well. Because they analyze situations in greater detail, they also become more aware of emotional nuances. They pick up on subtle changes in tone, hidden intentions, and unspoken feelings. What others might ignore, they notice immediately. At first, this might sound like an advantage, and in many ways, it is. It allows for greater empathy, better understanding of people, and a sharper perception of reality. But it also comes with a cost. Because when you see more, you feel more. A small conflict can feel much larger when you understand all the layers behind it. A simple disappointment can turn into a deeper reflection about meaning, expectations, and human behavior. And over time, this can lead to emotional exhaustion. This is one of the reasons why many people with high IQ choose solitude, even when they don't fully understand why. It's not necessarily that they dislike people, it's that being around others requires a level of mental and emotional processing that can become overwhelming. Think about a crowded environment. Noise, conversations, movements, different personalities all interacting at once. For some, this is energizing. But for someone with a highly active mind, it can feel like too much information at the same time. Their brain doesn't filter things out as easily. It absorbs, analyzes, and processes everything, often all at once. So stepping away, being alone, and finding silence becomes more than a preference. It becomes a form of balance. And here's something that many people misunderstand. Choosing to be alone is not the same as being lonely. In fact, for highly intelligent individuals, solitude can be one of the most productive and peaceful states. It's where their mind can organize itself, explore ideas freely, and finally slow down, even if just a little. Research indicates that people with higher cognitive abilities often show a lower need for constant social interaction compared to others. Not because they don't value relationships, but because their internal world is already rich and stimulating. They don't need constant external input to feel engaged. But this difference can create confusion in relationships. Others may interpret their need for space as distance, disinterest, or even coldness, when in reality, it's simply a different way of recharging and functioning. And this is where the real challenge begins, learning how to balance a deeply active mind with the expectations of the outside world. Because the truth is, being different is not the hardest part. The hardest part is learning how to live in a world that doesn't always understand that difference. And in the next part, you'll discover something even more surprising, because this way of thinking doesn't just affect how they process the world, it shapes how they see themselves. Now there's one final layer to all of this, and it may be the most important one of all, because having a high IQ doesn't just change how you think or how you feel, it changes how you see yourself. Over time, many highly intelligent people begin to notice that they are different. Not necessarily better, not necessarily worse, just different. They realize that their way of thinking doesn't always match the people around them. Conversations feel disconnected. Interests don't align. Reactions seem out of sync. And slowly, without even realizing it, a question begins to form in their mind. Why do I feel so different from everyone else? Psychology shows that self-awareness tends to be higher in individuals with greater cognitive ability. This means they don't just experience life, they observe themselves experiencing it. They analyze their own thoughts, their own behaviors, and even their own emotions. At first, this can lead to growth. It creates a deeper understanding of who they are. But over time, it can also lead to something more complicated: self-doubt. Because when you analyze everything, you also analyze yourself. You question your decisions, you replay your actions. You wonder if you said the right thing, if you acted the right way, if you are being understood correctly. And in a world that often rewards confidence over reflection, this can feel like a disadvantage. Many highly intelligent people struggle with something known as imposter syndrome. Even when they are capable, even when they are knowledgeable, they may still feel like they are not enough, like they don't truly belong in the spaces they occupy. Not because they lack ability, but because they are more aware of what they don't know. This awareness creates a strange paradox. The more they understand, the more they realize how much there is left to understand, and this can be overwhelming. At the same time, their ability to see patterns and inconsistencies doesn't stop when they look outward. It also turns inward. They notice their own contradictions, their own flaws, their own limitations, and while others may overlook these things, they cannot. But here's where everything begins to shift. Because this level of awareness, as heavy as it may feel, is also what gives them the potential to grow in ways that most people never do. They are not stuck in automatic behavior. They are not blindly following patterns. They are constantly reflecting, adjusting, and evolving. And that is a powerful advantage. The key is not to silence the mind, but to understand it. To recognize that thinking differently is not a weakness, that needing space is not a flaw, that feeling out of place does not mean you don't belong. It simply means you see the world through a different lens. In fact, many of the qualities that make highly intelligent people feel isolated are the same qualities that allow them to create, innovate, and understand the world at a deeper level. The ability to question, the need for meaning, the awareness of complexity. These are not burdens, they are tools. But like any tool, they need to be used with balance. Because a mind that never rests can become its own obstacle. And a person who sees everything too clearly can sometimes lose sight of something simple, the ability to just be. So if you've ever felt like your mind is always running, like you don't quite fit in, or like you see things others don't, understand this. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not too much. You are not overthinking. You are not out of place. You are simply operating on a different level of awareness. And once you learn how to work with that, instead of against it, everything begins to change. So if this made sense to you, if you saw yourself in these words, take a moment to acknowledge that. Because understanding yourself is one of the most powerful things you can do. And if you want to continue exploring how your mind works, how your personality shapes your life, and how to turn these traits into strengths, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Because the more you understand your mind, the more control you gain over your life.